Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. So today what I'd like to go over is this excellent article from The Real Deal, which is a real estate news website, and it says that remote work will destroy 44% of New York City office values. Academics' projections grow increasingly dire as work from home persists. I wanted to go over some of this because there are still some people that are living in the fantasy world that remote work is going to go away, that employers are going to be able to fish everybody back to the office in spite of the fact that you have a lot of specific fields where it's more and more difficult for them to find talent. And I thought we would dig into this a little bit just to try and bring people back to reality. It says with the return to the office seemingly plateauing at about 50% occupancy, the long-term impact of remote work on New York's office values looks even more dire than previously thought. That's according to an update from researchers at New York University and Columbia University, who revised the study they released last year measuring the effect of work from home on New York City's office stock. The update, published in May, now calculates that the city's offices as a whole will lose 44% of their pre-pandemic value by 2029. Up from the estimated 28% when the authors first published the study a year ago. We now estimate a more persistent work-from-home regime, which has more of an impairment of office values even in the long run, New York University's Arpit Gupta, one of the authors, wrote in an email. Even the most optimistic office evangelists have come to admit that remote work has proven more enduring than they expected. The hybrid work model has persisted far longer than I expected it to, SL Green Realty CEO Mark Holliday acknowledged in December. New York's office buildings saw a notable uptick in physical occupancy after Labor Day last year, hitting nearly 47%. But that seems to have been somewhat a ceiling. As of May, occupancy was slightly higher than 48%. For its occupancy figures, the NYU/Columbia study used data from the entry swipe company Castle Systems, which some have criticized as an incomplete measurement because it misses some large office portfolios with high occupancy rates. To be clear, there is tons of offices across New York City where you do not have any sort of electronic system for entering them, so there's a lot of places that you're going to be missing when you're doing this. This is only showing the largest companies. Again, like Rossman Repair Group does not have key cards for when you walk in the door that would actually show up in something like this, and small business does make up a lot of office space and retail space within the city. The authors found that companies make little use of their office space or decline to renew leases or moving forward with only a portion of their space. They point to data from Cushman & Wakefield that show just shy of 78% of Manhattan's office stock was contractually leased in the fourth quarter, a 30-year low. Now, something that I've been going over on this channel for a very long time is that a lot of what you see in New York City is fundamentally unsustainable when it comes to real estate. This was the realization that New York City was a Ponzi scheme to me rather than just being a place that I prefer to not retire to. When I was looking for a store, again, when you look at something like this is the size of my old store, and this is $75,000 per month. $75,000. You have something like this, and when you take a look through it, this is 1,500 square feet. It actually measured to closer to 998. This is essentially a large walk-in closet. This was $25,000 per month, and they were not willing to negotiate. This is literally a restaurant in 2020 that you were not allowed to open due to all the restrictions. This was about the same size as my store, and this restaurant that you see over here, about the same size as my old store, was over $40,000. Now, one of the things that many people will say is, well, that's not fair. You're just showing what everything looked like after COVID. Of course, a lot of these places were available after COVID, but I also showed you a lot of the places that I was looking for when I was looking for a new store in 2019 before COVID, and many of these storefronts were vacant, and they were asking upwards of $200 to $500 per square foot. $200 to $500 per square foot per year to lease those spaces. And some of them have been empty for over 10 years. One of the places I wanted to rent in 2011, I'm not kidding, was still empty in 2019 when I went looking for new stores again because nobody had rented it, because nobody is going to rent it at these particular prices. So when they say that things are going to decline 44%, that's just the tip of the iceberg for things to actually become affordable enough that this is not empty from now until I die, which is the way this is going to go. Nobody is going to rent a 2,500 square foot space for $40,000 unless they are laundering cocaine money through it. That's just not how any of this works. After dealing with people like this for 6 months while trying to look for a new store where they just, basic stuff, just advertise the amount of space, honestly, so I'm not wasting a trip to show up to something that's actually 1,200 square feet when you advertise that as like 2,000. I would over and over again hear stuff like this.
Of space that I do need.
Oh, it is?
It's just given that it's 1,700 square feet, not 2,500, I'd be willing.
I'm going to tell you, you have to stop living in the, you got to be in reality here. This
gotta
is a
live in reality.
mathematical representation of reality as it is.
No, I get that the nature of the beast is that most of them are full of shit. It's just at some point.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
But I also don't lie about the shit that I'm selling and claim it's something it's not.
They're not lying.
Most of them are full of shit. It's just at some point.
I'm not disagreeing with you. They're not lying.
Most of them are full of shit. At some point.
I'm not disagreeing with you. They're not lying.
Full of shit.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You might wonder why I'm a little salty about all of this. That's why. And one of the things that is really going to be painful here as the city starts to go into a death spiral is when you look at the fact that property tax is approximately 1/3 of their revenue. So you look general property tax, around 30 billion, total revenues around 100 billion. So 1/3 of the revenue comes from property tax. Now, what happens if the property values slide? If the property value goes down, that means that the landlords are going to be collecting less money from the building because they cannot rent it out for as much. It is not worth as much. If they go to sell it, it is not worth as much. So what does that mean for the city? Well, when it comes to property tax, the city can still say, we need to collect this much in property tax. So what happens is, I think it's something like the multiplier changes. Correct me if I'm wrong here if you actually work in real estate. The way this works is even if the property values go down, if the city needs that money, they're not going to say, well, you're supposed to pay us like 2% of what the property is worth every single year. They'll just up it because they know they need to get $32 billion out of the property owners. And by God, they're going to get $32 billion out of the property owners, whether their properties are still in demand or not. So what's going to happen when the property tax stays high, because it needs to stay high because New York City has a $102 billion budget that is still not enough to pay for all the city services that they need. As we mentioned in the last video, they are increasing taxes so that the MTA can remain solvent. So what is going to happen when the taxes stay at $32 to $33 billion for general property tax, but the actual value of those buildings goes down so they cannot be sold for as much and they cannot be rented for as much? Those landlords are going to go, oh crap, nobody wants to rent my building. The people that want to rent my building want to rent it for 44% less than they used to rent it for, but I still got to pay all this property tax. That's going to be a very interesting death spiral. And they're most certainly not going to say, well, you know what, fine, we'll keep the multiplier at whatever it is at right now, and we'll just collect a little less property tax, because as you can see, New York City needs their $101 billion every single year. As I mentioned in the last video that I did, they are increasing taxes on businesses in order to pay the MTA, an organization that has been famously corrupt and inept with how they spend their money, to say the least, and they are going to get more and more money because ridership is down. So 44% decline. And again, here's the thing. 44% decline, dare I say it, is not enough. This store is $75,000 a month. It measures to approximately 2,800, 2,700 square feet. If this store were $30,000 a month, it's too much. If this store were $20,000 a month, it's too much. A 44% decline barely scratches the surface of the decline that is necessary for people to rent office space or stores in New York City. And here's the thing. The reason that I go over this, many people are going to go, why are you going over this over and over again? Why are you so obsessed with this topic? And it's very simple why I'm obsessed with this topic, and it's not just because I scored above average on my autistic exam. In all seriousness, the reason is when I was looking for a new store, when I was looking for a new space, what I heard over and over again from realtors and building owners is that I was being unreasonable. When they would point out that this dilapidated dump was $25,000 a month. That was about the size of a garage. That this is a little high, and I don't think anybody's going to rent this. Are you open to lowering the price, something reasonable? Time and time again, what I was told, and you can look through this playlist. There's over 40 videos of me checking out other stores in this playlist where you can hear the realtors for yourself. You can hear everything that they're telling me over and over again. You're being unreasonable. This is ridiculous. Somebody's going to rent this. The demand is there. This piece of crap space is worth $20,000 to $70,000 a month. No, it's not. I wasn't crazy, you gaslighting piece of crap realtors and building owners. None of us were crazy. This was a bubble that you refused to acknowledge. And as a result of refusing to acknowledge that bubble and refusing to be reasonable with tenants and business owners, now your real estate is going to go down 44%, dare I say it more, and enjoy your city's death spiral. Up yours. Sincerely, an ex-New York City business owner. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're somebody that rents office space or rents retail space in New York City, if you're somebody that's ever looked to expand your business and you look at a space that's 1,200 square feet and they're telling you that this is worth $30,000 a month, and if you don't take it, somebody's going to take it and come along so they don't even give a shit what you think. How do you feel about this? Do you think that I'm overreacting, or do you think that this is a group of people that are getting their just desserts. Late beats never. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. By the way, check it out. We even have lying real estate merchandise here. We have a It's Not Lying, It's Commercial Real Estate t-shirt. We have an It's Not Lying, It's Commercial Real Estate coffee mug with a little sheep logo from my store. We have the advanced It's Not Lying, It's Commercial Real Estate t-shirt and sweater, and yeah. I'm not Linus, but I'm giving it a try. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.